We're going to apply the CRAAP test to evaluate sources to a couple sources that I found on a topic. So let's imagine that we have a research question related to how we can prevent dog bites. So I'm interested in exploring the prevalence of dog bites, the kinds of dogs that most commonly bite, people who are most commonly victims of dog bites, to investigate how we might help prevent these dog bites. So I found a couple sources that we can look at. The first source that I found is a scholarly source I found through the PGCC Library's website, and it took me to the NIH.gov. NIH is the National Institutes of Health. It took me to their .gov website. So I can imagine this is pretty credible, but I'm going to apply the CRAAP test anyway, just to be sure this really fits all of my needs for this assignment. So again, I know that my research question is, how can dog bites be prevented? So if I go back to the CRAAP test worksheet that gives me all of the questions that I might use to apply the CRAAP test, I see that the first item is currency or timeliness. So let me see when this was published. It looks like it was published in 2014, which isn't very updated, but it's within the past 10 years, and I can imagine that dog bite prevalence hasn't changed much in the past 10 years. So because of my particular topic, I think 2014 is recent enough. So now I can check the next thing, relevance. Does this seem related to my topic? So my topic is on dog bites, and we can see that that keyword is already there. But I'm looking at how we can prevent dog bites, or how we can reduce the number of dog bites. So I want to explore the full text of this article to see if I can find a little bit more to see how relevant this source will be for me. Whenever you're working with a scholarly source, you need to download the PDF of the source. So as you can see here, I don't have a lot of information because this is not actually the source. This is just a summary of the source. So I want to look for a link that says download full text or download PDF. I see full text here, so I'll click on it. And it takes me to a page where I can find the download PDF button. As you can see, sometimes it's hidden. Usually on the PGC website, it'll be over here on the PGCC Library's website. So I'll open this PDF and see how relevant this source is to my needs. So in the abstract, I can read the introduction, the methods, the results, the conclusions. I don't need to read the full source yet because I should get an idea of how relevant this source is here. But I wanted to open the PDF to show you how different this source looks in the PDF and how much more information we have here. This is why you want to always download the PDF, because we'll be able to get a lot more information here when we use the source in our paper. And we'll get more information here to apply the CRAAP test. So if I go to the summary, the conclusion summary here, it says the results suggest that policies for control of dog bite injuries should be area specific. Prevention efforts could perhaps be improved by focusing not only on families, but also on neighborhood regions. So it seems like this is very relevant to my topic because I'm looking at preventing dog bite injuries, and this gives an idea of one way that dog bite injuries may be prevented or at least reduced. So this is very relevant. Let's see what's next. Next is authority, the source of the information. Who is the publisher? What are the author's credentials? And what else do I know about the source that tells me it's worth using? So I'm going to go back to the page where I downloaded the PDF so that I can see where it was published. So this was published in Rural Remote Health. Let me click and find a little bit more information about this. It looks like this is a scholarly source. So this is a scholarly journal on PubMed, which is the U.S. National Library of Medicine and the National Institutes of Health database for scholarly research. So I know that this is published in a very scholarly location. So let me see if I can find out a little bit about these authors. So here are the authors. Let me see if it gives me some information. Okay, one person is a faculty of medicine. Another person works in the Department of Community Health Sciences at a university, and the other one works at the Center for Health Policy. So these people are very qualified to talk on this specific issue. Now, if these were all English faculty or math faculty, I would say they don't have authority to talk on this issue. But dog bite injuries is a public health and health sciences issue, so these people are all very qualified. So I think this source has a lot of authority because it's published in a peer-reviewed scholarly article, and the authors are all experts in their field. So next I want to look at accuracy. Where does the information come from? Is it supported by evidence? Has it been reviewed? Can I verify it? Etc. So if I go back to my PDF of this source, I could browse through and check to see that it has citations. So here, these little footnote numbers refer to citations. So let's see where those citations are. I'm going to go ahead and take a guess that they're at the end. So let me scroll to the end. Yeah, they have 36 sources. And we know that this is peer-reviewed. So we can take a pretty safe guess that these are all credible. Like this looks like a scholarly source, another scholarly source, a government source, scholarly source. Most of their sources are scholarly sources. So we can assume that the information they're citing is accurate because not only is this a peer-reviewed source, but they're citing information that comes from other peer-reviewed sources. So now we'll go to the purpose. What is the purpose? Well, the good news about a scholarly source is that they'll tell you the purpose right in the introduction section. So they say their primary objective was to compare the frequency of dog bite injuries across economic and rural versus urban areas. So we know that this was a study, and it seems like it was an objective study, and usually scholarly articles will be objective. So overall, when we applied the CRAAP test to this source, we saw that this is a really good source. I'm not surprised because this was a scholarly source, so I was really going through the CRAAP method just to try it out and practice it, but most scholarly sources will very easily pass the CRAAP test. The only ones that you might want to consider are the first two. Is the scholarly source the most current information that you could use on this specific topic? And is it relevant enough to your topic to apply it? So now we're going to look at another source that's not a scholarly source, and it'll be a little bit more tricky to apply the CRAAP test to it. So I'm going to close all of these because I just have way too many tabs open. I always do. So this is another source. This is dogsbite.org, statistics about dogs biting. This seems like it could be really relevant to what I'm looking at. I'll apply the whole CRAAP test, but I already can tell this is super relevant because I want to look at preventing dog bites. So obviously statistics about dog bites will be useful to me. But let's start with the first element, which is currency. How current is this information? So as you could see with the scholarly source, we easily saw when it was published because the information was at the top. But we don't have that here, so we'll have to explore a little bit more and see if there's specific dates. So they're citing sources here, and it looks like the information is pretty up to date because their most recent sources come from 2018. So it looks like these are in order by date. So the oldest information here is from 1997, and the most recent information is very recent, 2018. So it looks like this is a pretty current source. Again, we've got 2016 here, 2018. So this website is very up to date. So this does pass the currency test. We already know that this passes the relevancy test. We talked about that first. Dog bite statistics, looking at what kinds of dogs tend to bite most, the kinds of injuries, that all seems very relevant. So next we get to authority, the source of the information. So this is where it gets a little trickier for popular sources. For scholarly sources, it's easy. It's usually written by an expert in the field. But we need to find out who is behind this .org website. So sometimes students think that this .org designation means that it's automatically scholarly. But that actually means that you need to be very careful because any organization, no matter their bias, can have a .org website. So let's see if we can find out more about this website by scrolling to the bottom. So we have an About Us page. Okay, let's click here, see what we can find out. So it looks like they are a nonprofit organization trying to talk about dangerous dog breeds, specifically pit bulls. Okay. Their goals are to educate and advocate, which will be useful for us later when we look at purpose. But I'm still not really sure who these people are. Who is behind this website? Here we go, founder. Colleen Lynn is the founder. She was attacked by a pit bull. Okay. So she definitely has authority to talk about a dog bite, specifically the dog bite that she was the victim of. And then it looks like, based on that, she launched this website. I'm actually going to skip down to purpose here because I'm actually starting to see some red flags here. So this person was bitten by a dog, which is obviously very traumatic, and then 4 months later launched a website about dog bites. But it seems like her specific impetus is on pit bulls as the dogs that bite. So I'm already seeing a little bit of bias here. This person probably suffered a very traumatic event and obviously wants to prevent other people from going through that event, but that reduces some of the objectivity of this website. Possibly. Not sure. It would be helpful to keep looking for authority. So I want to know a little bit more about this website and this person. A really easy way to find out more is to just Google the website and see if other people have already evaluated it. So I'm going to type in dogsbite.org credibility. Let's see. Okay, I'm already seeing some people who are writing about real dog bite studies, unlike the bogus and inaccurate data promoted by Colleen Lynn at dogsbite.org. Okay, but I'm still not sure about the credibility of this website. Okay. The news media's biased source for dog bite statistics. People on Reddit have been talking about dog bite being discredited. An academic imposter behind the pit bull hysteria from Huffington Post. Debunking dogsbite.org. So it looks like this is a very heated debate, and there are some sources out there trying to question the credibility of the founder of this website. So I know a little bit of background. I've already looked into some of these, and apparently this person cherry picks information to put it on this website. But that doesn't mean that this website isn't completely useless to me, because what you can do is you can go back to the original source, which is the dog bites quick statistics page that we were looking at using in the first place. And there are links to original sources that might be more useful to us. So while we should definitely be very careful with using this website because it is such a controversial website, we should be careful with using this website. But as far as accuracy, this person is linking to a lot of other resources. But perhaps it would be better for us to go to these original resources instead. So here's the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Maybe we should look into this instead. So this would probably be a better source for us to use than the source we looked at that had questionable authority. So we've already gotten here and decided that maybe we should be careful with this source and instead look at more reliable sources. So that doesn't mean that everything this website's saying is not true, but it does mean that we should consider the bias here, the purpose, and choose websites that have more authority. So I hope that this quick overview has given you a good idea of how you can use the CRAAP test to evaluate sources.